Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. I played it on the Xbox One. It's also available on the PS4 and PC. So let's start with the fact that this is just a short prequel to the upcoming Don't Nod title, Life is Strange 2. And from a story standpoint, I'm very curious now because I don't know what's coming. Based on the trailers going into this, I was expecting this really fun, lighthearted romp, and for the most part, it is, but throughout, there's this underlying, very serious problem going on. You play as Chris, a young boy with a magnificent imagination. It's really cool the way he looks at the world and he goes on these play adventures. That's a lot of fun. But there's also some very serious stuff going on in his life. His mother has recently died in a hit and run. His father's coping with it as best he can. The boy himself is coping with it in his own way, but there's definitely some problems. And I'll say that throughout this game, there were a lot of times where I was wondering how this is going to tie into the Life is Strange world, because based on the trailers, you don't see how it will, and through most of the game, apart from the more serious tone than you'd expect, you're kind of wondering how. But I will tell you, it definitely takes a very quick turn and goes, oh yeah, this is definitely part of the Life is Strange universe. That being said, I really enjoyed the story and I liked where it left off, and it leaves me curious as to where the actual game will pick up. And that's very important because this is meant to give you that curiosity so that you want to know and you want to play Life is Strange 2. As for the audio, I've really enjoyed the Life is Strange soundtrack, specifically not like the orchestral, like background music, but the other songs that are meant to really enhance areas that are vocal and like instrumental by actual bands. I will say in this game, not so much. Some of them clicked a little better than others in this game. That being said, the background music, the sound effects, and of course the voiceover work were all very well done. Voiceover work in the Life is Strange games is key because they are an interactive narrative style game, so the story is super important, and if the dialogue and the delivery of said dialogue is garbage, well, you're gonna disconnect. Fortunately, that was not a problem in this game. As for the gameplay, this game starts a little light on gameplay, like the first 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe it wasn't that long, it just felt that long. We're a cutscene with very minimal interaction. But after that goes down, basically after Chris eats breakfast, you get to run around, you get to explore the yard and the house, and utilize this child's imagination to do so. I thought that was neat, and they did provide a unique way of interacting with things. There's the standard interaction, as well as, since this boy is pretending to be a superhero, there's his superhero interactions with things. I will say one thing they did that kind of sucked was the little pop-ups that show up to tell you what you should do from a control standpoint. They appeared and disappeared very quickly at times, so I didn't always know what I was doing. I had to go into the menus and figure it out. So that sucked a little bit. It took me a while to figure out what I was actually doing with the whole superhero interactions because, I mean, it popped up, but I didn't get a chance to read it. The gameplay, though, works very similar. You get to choose how you want to respond to certain things. There weren't a lot of options. There were generally only 2 options, which that's fine. I assume that in the actual game there will be much more in-depth options, like 3 to 4 options on how you'll actually respond. And there's of course your interactions with the items in the world. You're just kind of wandering around and exploring. As for the controls work like pretty much any other interactive narrative. Walk around, explore, and they worked well. There's not a ton of camera control, but there rarely is, and it's rarely needed in interactive narratives. The only time I had any even slight issue with the controls was there's a part where I was throwing snowballs at beer cans, and it was a little sloppy, but it wasn't anything major because it wasn't a dire moment. No life or death, nobody's life was on the line, nothing consequential would have happened. So that was fine, and overall the controls worked well for the game. I didn't have any major complaints. Lastly, the graphics. I really enjoyed the graphics and the visual style of this game, and I'm happy that they definitely kept in line with what they've done in the previous Life is Strange games, specifically because this is a sequel, and that would be super weird if it had just a completely ultra-realistic, completely different art style. That being said, I enjoyed it. I enjoy how colorful the world is. I really liked that in the previous Life is Strange games, and I like that they continued that in this game. So to wrap this up, first of all, it's just about 2 hours, even less if you're just kind of know what you're doing, which I didn't really know what I was doing. But it's also free, so that makes it just kind of worth it to kill some time, enjoy a good little story. I really enjoyed the fact that this was definitely very much a Life is Strange game. It's far more serious than you might originally anticipate based on the style. And I think it did a good job as a prequel, getting me excited for what's to come. That being said, if you're a fan of interactive narratives, if you like Life is Strange, play this. It's worth it. It's worth the time to put in. So obviously I'm recommending it. Okay, so in the comments below, I just finished the Ready Player One book. Why don't you tell me if you finished the book and if you liked it? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one. This is the second time I'm recording this video because I forgot that the batteries had died on my mic and recorded the entire thing without replacing them. Now I've replaced them.